Hello, vlog. Hi, vloggy dogs. It's been a while since I've been on here. I haven't been the most consistent in terms of putting myself out there onto social media and just anyone, to be honest. It's been an interesting time for me, very transformative. I spoke about like my experiences before with my 10th house year, my 11th house year, and entering this 2024 8 year and all that stuff. A lot has been happening for me since I decided to start making these kinds of videos. There's a big part of me that really likes expressing myself to you guys, as I've said, but then there's also a large part of me that's also very protective. I feel like this particular phase of my life that I'm in right now, I'm walking into a very huge and dramatic transformation. Mentioned in the last video and probably some of my videos beforehand about my mindset in relations to like romantic connections and intimacy. I think for a large majority of my life, I placed a pretty heavy and large importance on wanting to connect and wanting to share myself with other people, wanting to find someone to really connect with. In some instances, looking for myself and other people, wanting to like seeking that love and validation from other people. I would say this year I feel like I wanted to approach my relationships differently. I don't think it's been working but where my mind has been with that was I wanted to approach it in a more like detached way. Whoever I come in contact with, like I'm welcoming you into my space and you're welcoming me into your space, and we're just appreciating each other while we're there. And that be it. I don't have any expectations from this person, and I would not want them to have any expectations from me in terms of like, you need to do this, 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 and this for me to be satisfied with you. But any instance of which I decide, hey, I want to be around you, you are my friend, you are my lover, if I decide that, then there's no other requirement from me than you be exactly who you are, because that's what I chose. That's kind of been my mindset and my approach this year. So when I say I've been wanting to do it differently, that is how I'm going into it, but I still feel like I'm making the wrong choices. Because I'm coming with this energy, but the people I'm selecting are not. I don't know, I'm kind of going through like a lot of inner turmoil and conflict, because in situations like this, my mind, I immediately want to revert back into myself and be like, well, I'm just never gonna share myself again. I'm not meant to be around people. I'm not meant to have friends. I'm not meant to have, romantic connections, and I'll never speak to another person. I'll never give myself to another person ever again, which I don't feel like we should be fully giving ourselves up. So that's not what I mean. But my mind sort of like wants to play on traumas and stories of like trust issues and betrayal and all this stuff, deceit and disappointment, ruminating like I don't ever want to be put in that position ever again. I'm just gonna be really open and honest. These past couple of months have been really fucking hard for me. I met somebody who came into my life, and I, like I said, wanted to approach things very differently. Before this, I kind of said, I'm not gonna be dating anymore. I think I've gotten everything that I needed to see out of these sorts of connections. But this person came along and kind of like, I got excited. I think I may have touched on this a little bit in the last video that I uploaded, but I approached it, I think, very intentionally and carefully. I wanted to be as short as possible, asked as many questions to get as much insight as I could. And this particular person showed me no caution signs, and I felt like everything was kind of aligning. And maybe that's a fault on my end because I wanted it to be so badly that maybe I was only really looking at things that were aligning, like I said, only for me to jump into the situation and give up control and trust this person, and it to be like not what I thought it was at all. It's been very heartbreaking in the sense that the person is who they are. Scratching that out of the situation entirely, it's heartbreaking for myself that I put myself in the same situation. Every time I think I get out of these situations, I'm saying the same things to myself, like I will never do this shit again. I would never do this shit again. And then someone comes up in my face and it's like, maybe. But there's only so much disappointment I feel like a person can take until they're like, I'm just really coming to the realization that a lot of this shit is dead energy. Like, we're done. I'm done, but I feel like as a collective, everything that I see within my experience, within my reality, I don't give a fuck what y'all are seeing. Like, what I'm seeing is a time to really move past all this shit, move beyond all this shit. That love and energy in that context is said and done. Moving more into like bridging, a lot of this shit is dead, and I feel like me wanting to play in it and desiring all this shit is no one's fault other than myself. There's a really hurt and wounded little girl in me that really wanted that and really wanted to experience that. After the situation transpired, I could see like in my tears in my face just the energy of that little girl. And it's not me experiencing this heartbreak, it's her. And that was the most hurtful thing, that like this story from so long ago is still sitting heavy on my heart. Something else that I wanted to make note of in terms of like relationships, healthy relationships, conscious relationships. It's hard for me because I was speaking to my mom about this, or she was speaking to me about this. I have a tendency to close myself off of connections if the person is not really speaking to me, like relating to me. And not to say I can be judgmental, but if the differences are so great, I'm like, it's hard for me to connect. It's really hard for me to make that connection. Part of me is like, that's the way to go about it, but then another part of me is like, am I missing something? I'm still learning what it is that I really want. All these experiences, I've been shown definitely what I don't want, but I'm still learning what it is that I want. One quality in a person that is extremely important to me is communication, conflict resolution, and not just running away and throwing shit away. Someone who is willing and wanting to learn how to be open and live with people and like let people touch them. That's the kind of people that I'm looking to be around. In this last connection that I was speaking about, this person that prior to me fully indulging and becoming invested in the situation showed me like all the signs that they could be these things, or that they would be these things, and that it was a lot more sustainable, that it was a lot more intentional and deeper and whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that I get into the shit, I'm met with a lot of like walls, and not walls that that they're willing and wanting to pull down, but like walls that are iron steel, like you're not getting past this shit. They were refusing and rejecting me and my offerings, which I've been learning more about love languages and the ways that I really like receive and give my love and acts of service is really, really up there. I'm the kind of person who gives for the sake of giving and not for anything to be returned. I like to treat people and do for people the way that I do for myself. So I'm also noticing sometimes I do these things maybe because I feel like other people are not capable of doing them. And so I feel like that burden is mine to carry and mine alone. I'm skilled here, like I can handle it. Don't worry about it, I got it. But when I'm looking for like a partner or a friend, an equal exchange, companionship, not just like you're lumped up with the world and I'm of service. What I'm attracted to and what I'll move mountains for is someone who matches that and can meet me there in that energy. I want you to do things for me, and I want you to want to do things for me because you love me. I think to know someone is to really love someone. So what I really mean by like you do these things and want to do these things and move mountains for me because you love me, what I really mean is you acknowledge me. You acknowledge the small, little, minuscule, unnoticed things that I do for you and for everyone else, and because you see the amount of energy that I pour out, you want to pass that back. You're eager to pass it back. I think being in Aries, that first initial sign, we are the baby, but we are like the leaders. We're gonna get up and go and do it. I'm attracted to people who carry that same energy. So if I chose you as a friend or a partner, it's because I saw you as competent enough to lead, to also be a leader, to lead and to teach and serve just as I do. And not just to me, just in general, like that is your energy, period. Want to consider myself a leader, and I want to consider myself someone who can lead. But ultimately, when I speak of leading, it's not necessarily towards other people. I'll do it for other people. But when I'm speaking of being a leader, I'm leading myself. I'm leading my life. I'm taking control of the shit. And so that's what I look for in someone else. You're leading yourself and you're steering the boat. We don't need to be all hands on each other's shit, but like we can be leading and going in the same direction or going in the directions that make sense. So yeah, if I'm asking a partner like, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? Not that I can't do it or I'm not capable, but I'm giving you the reins here. And also what I've noticed in this past experience, when I'm wanting to give and those around me are not receptive, it's like a blow to my heart. I was watching another video by another lady. I'll put the link in the bottom because that shit really like got the gears turning and really made some things click. I wrote it down here. She said, refusing people's offers because you're worried about burdening them or whatever the case is cuts off a cycle of reciprocation that could happen. It was a particular situation where I'm not perfect. I'm human. I like to eat. I like to play in the human shit from time to time. I'm gonna fuck around and eat a hamburger because this shit is good. I love a good barbecue. But I try to be as conscious as possible when it comes to the things that I consume. Another big love language of mine, when I'm finding things that can improve my health or sustain my health, I like to share that with those around me. So if I'm making a cup of tea for myself, I'm gonna offer you a cup of tea as well. Regardless if I see that that's something that you need or not, I'm gonna be like, yo, like this shit made me feel good. I'm gonna offer it so you can feel good too. And so I cooked for this person, and granted it's not like steak and fucking potatoes and shrimp and Alfredo and all that shit. Like it's not a hefty meal. It's fucking like kale and quinoa and shit. I offered, and not even like I'm offering just to offer, like I plated your shit already. Like I want you to eat it, nigga. I asked just because it was a little bit of tension. I'm like, do you want some? And they were like, no. And they hadn't ate. So I was like, oh, I'm sharing. Like I have such a hard time as it is opening up and sharing myself, and I keep doing it for the wrong people. And I feel like that's the biggest, most critical learning point right now. I am getting better at loving and loving myself and loving people who enter my life. I think for a long time I was desiring and seeking validation and looking for a home outside of myself. I'm not doing that anymore, but I still am extending myself for people who aren't really deserving. Whereas before, I think it was very toxic and immature connections where I'm not really communicating and sharing and being honest with myself and where I'm at. I've gotten to a place where I am so honest, like really honest, maybe too honest. I've gotten to a place where I can be really present with the people in my life and the ones that I love. But I guess the next step would be to go where that love is tenfold. I've been presented with some pretty fucked up situations that I don't want to say I never saw myself in, but like I'm surprised that I let it get to this place. I see every step that led me here, and it's kind of like nobody is responsible for this other than myself. But I can't lie, I am so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so angry that this is the quality of life that I've subjected myself to. And so moving forward, I'm marking this month, this year, 2024, but I'm marking October 16th, 2024 as the day that I decided to stop accepting life as it throws itself to me and choosing the shit that I deal with. Pick that shit up, grab it by its balls, by its testicles, and say, you're my bitch, this is where we're going, and I'm not accepting any less than that. As much as I love the masculine, listen, my mom is so against me saying this. She doesn't think that ridding yourself of romantic connections is healthy, which I will say from like the studies of the brain and shit, it might not be. I definitely have a lot of abnormalities in my shit. Dysfunctional amygdala. That's what trauma will do to you. And this shit is catching up to me. Y'all will never get a piece of me ever again. And this shit breaks my heart, it really does. I'm laughing, but this shit hurts. It hurts me so deeply because I feel like that's something that I love my sisterhoods, don't get me wrong. It's not like one is weighing over the other. I treat my romantic relationships and my platonic relationships all with the same respect. But there is something about the love between the masculine and feminine counterparts that it hits me so deeply that it breaks my heart to say I'm not fucking with that shit anymore. Or not in a sense like internal, because I know I have both those energies within myself, but that's what I mean, like it's reserved for this experience and this experience alone. I don't need that outside representation. I don't need that form. I don't. All in all, I love you very deeply. I'm so grateful for every single heartbreak, every disappointment, every failed mission, because every destruction leads me to a beautiful creation. And as much as it hurts getting my heart broken, this shit is so fucking beautiful and lovely to see the way that shit transforms me. And when I come back from the dead, y'all, I don't know if y'all gonna be fucking with me, but I hope to see y'all there.